Hey guys, sharpandtasty here. Today we're going to be making some mint puree so that actually later in the week I can use it with some lamb steaks that we're going to be making, which will hopefully be delicious. So all you're going to need for this recipe is 2 cups of mint leaves, half of a clove of garlic, some vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, various measuring stuff for the vinegar and for the olive oil, salt, and big old food processor. So this recipe is fairly straightforward. I mean, to start, just dump your garlic and mint right into the processor. And the only trick part, to begin with, we're going to be adding only half of the olive oil. We're going to be using a total of 1 cup, but only half of it is going to go in the beginning. No, sorry, we're going to be using half of a cup, which is why we're putting a quarter of it in now, and then we'll be adding a quarter of it in as we go on. So, just kind of, oh wow, yes I did just spill that. So a little more because I spilled some. But this is probably going to be a fairly thick mixture, which is why at the end you can add water if you like it to be runnier. But it'll taste good regardless, so just there we go. Pop the lid on here. Safety first. And now I'm just going to turn it on, and it'll start to chop everything up. You'll hear the garlic rattling around. And as we go, I'm going to add in the rest of the half of a cup of olive oil, and I'm going to add in a pinch of salt about midway through. Let it go there. Now as you can see, stuff is kind of sticking to the sides, so I'm going to be, as it starts to stick more to the sides, stop, scrape it down a little, and scrape it down so that everything can get chopped up nice and fine. So I'm just going to grab a spatula here, scrape that down. You want this to, in the end, be a fairly fine mixture. It just looks better, tastes nicer. Scrape it down, start it up again. Now, if you kind of hear something's not really cutting so much, and at that point, it's where you're gonna want to start adding more oil. So, pop this out here. And I'm going to need to scrape down the walls again. This is like the only tedious part, is having to scrape down the walls of this, because well, stuff won't cut if it's all stuck up to the walls. Scrape them down. I'm going to add some more olive oil. And a little more right now, and then I'm going to add, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to add the rest of this cup as it's spinning to kind of lubricate things. Scrape off the lid right there. Oh, while this is open, I'm just going to add a little bit. You don't need much salt, just a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of, it was maybe what you'd consider like a pinch, I guess. There's no exact measure for a pinch, but what you like, and you can adjust seasoning at the end. It's very simple. So now we're really pouring the rest of this olive oil in. We should kind of thicken up the mixture, make it more of like a goop, because puree is really just kind of a fancy French term to say tasty goop. So yeah, that's going. Wait a little bit here. As long as you can hear that stuff is still cutting, it's not as important to scrape down the walls. So with regards to storing this while this is going, this will store for probably maybe like, I'd give it 5 days. You can just cover it, put it in the refrigerator for 5 days, and use it anytime within there. There are, I'll probably post in this, I'm going to make it more of a dessert form of this kind of puree to, well, probably more of like a sauce. I'm going to post that as a video response to this video later in the week, because this, I mean, you think mint, you usually think dessert, This really is not something I'd eat for dessert. Yeah. Alright, so at this point, as you can see, it's up here. As you can see, it's pretty fine, goopy mixture. We're going to add in the vinegar. So I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of distilled white vinegar. You can also use a full tablespoon of, I'm actually going to use 2.5 teaspoons. You can use a full tablespoon of sherry vinegar too. Add a little more flavor than straight up normal vinegar will. But it'll all taste good. Brand new bottle, gotta open it up. Alright, I'm just gonna pour that. I'm gonna try and kind of spread it out. I mean, it doesn't matter so much, but kind of important. Close this up. You can use less vinegar if you want. Depends on how you want it to taste. You can always adjust it at the end. Let's go. Now, if you want kind of a runnier mixture, and I think I might, you can add some water, but you know, we'll see. I'll let it go for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know how you can see the size, and you can look through. I mean, if you don't have a clear food processor, you can. But if you have a clear food processor, which most are, you can just look through, see how the mixture's turning out, and you know, it's really just kind of a put stuff in, turn on sort of thing. Not so much cooking, but it's really just a good sauce to add on to another recipe. I'm just making it beforehand because it's kind of a separate little procedure on its own, and also it's nice to just have it there so that when you're cooking, though, in my case lamb steaks, you can just throw it on the lamb steaks and not have to go while you're trying to cook those, prepare this too. So yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. At this point, I'm going to turn it off, take it out, and start tasting. So as you can see, it's kind of a really fine, goopy mixture there, which looks really good. It smells nice. Got a little spoonful here. I don't want to chop this up a little more. It's still kind of leafy, but it tastes great. I'm gonna add a little more salt. Maybe like that much. Another pinch or two. And let this run a little more. If you notice that the vinegar is really kind of overpowering, if you add too much, or I mean. Hey guys, sorry about that. Camera ran out of memory. Using a different camera today, didn't realize that it didn't have enough memory to make the full video. But what I was saying is that if the vinegar is overpowering, you can just add more oil at the end, which will also make it a little more of a runny mixture. But I mean, it's all your preference. So I need to let this run a little more. But that's really all the instruction there is to it. So, I mean, run it to keep tasting it, make it the consistency that you like. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next video, hopefully when I'm putting this on something, making it taste good. So yeah, appreciate it. Have a good day.